The second biggest power company in the world, Enel, and how it moved forward by returning to its basic purpose.
Headquartered in Italy as a global energy generation and transmission company, Francesco Starace became CEO, I think it was in 2014, and he inherited a company that was troubled, particularly from a stakeholder perspective. From an investor standpoint, the stock was languishing, the company was heavily in debt. They were in this chronic cycle of making massive capital investments in building new power plants that wouldn't come online in some cases for 10 years. And by the time the plant was operational, it was obsolete.
Like other CEOs looking to move their companies forward, Starace studied the future of his business, and like so many others, concluded it laid in technological changes in the very business of power.
The company was already pretty large. I mean, it was big. And it was heavily indebted because of the expansion we had in the preceding years. It had, let's say, a cash conversion problem. So there was a lot of revenues that didn't really come up with a lot of cash. And growth was a little bit stalling. So there was a little bit of an issue at what was the future of the company going to be. So we had to actually decide what was the trajectory of the company, sell it to our shareholders and also to, of course, the whole market in a way that it was understandable, solid, robust enough to withstand potential shocks, and of course, more generative of cash flow. Basically, we said, where is the technology going? Because you can ignore technology for a while, it's okay, but at the end of the day, it always catch up with you. So where is the utility sector and the industry that is with it? Where is it going and what forces are changing these technologies? And we saw at that time, we had seen it before with Enel Green Power, I should say, that there was a major change in the technology of generating electricity, namely that renewables were becoming competitive, had become already by 2014 competitive with thermal generation by and large in many parts of the world. And we were not active enough in that space. And that space was going to be where value was going to be created in a major way in the next few years. We actually got and studied and really came with the conclusion that shifting our generation from thermal generation to renewables, we would increase double the EBITDA margin, so the amount of money we would make with the same kilowatt hour. And to do that, we had to basically completely change our operating model at developing plans and at thinking about generation going forward.
For Starace, identifying renewables as the growth opportunity for Enel was the first step. But to get there with the growth it promised required the company to move fast, faster than it had ever done in the past.
Imagine this is an industry that worked before with a time horizon of 5 to 10 years. So you started investing in something, and that whatever it was, a power plant or anything else, it would start generating revenues 5 or 10 years after. And we said, we shortened that to 3-year maximum to scrap all the stuff that does not stay in this 3-year time horizon. And that accelerated a lot, the circulation of the capital. I mean, capital started working a lot earlier than before. And that gave us the momentum we needed to really kickstart the whole thing.
After some initial resistance, Enel employees embraced the new direction because of the opportunities it presented them. But ironically, Starace sees this new direction as really a return to the basics of what gave rise to the company in the first place.
The semantics are important. A utility is useful to people. That's why it exists. And most of the utilities were formed in the past to electrify a space that didn't have electricity. So people got pride in bringing light to places that didn't have it.
So in a sense, you were not fighting with your heritage, you were returning to it.
Exactly. We had to go back to it. We had a purpose statement, and that was like 5 sentences glued together, and you can read through them who wanted to add something, and nobody said, no, it's too much. So it was a super complex stuff. And we just said, this doesn't matter. What are we for here? I mean, we are useful to society. That's our purpose.